Today, we are back in my main world after being away from it for the last month while I worked on a couple of side projects. But as much fun as I had making those videos, I've been itching to get back to this world where I have this medieval village that we've been working on for the last couple of episodes. And I have two plans for this area. The first is that we are going to be slowly progressing through the different tools that you can get. So we started out using wooden tools, and at the end of the last episode, I upgraded to stone tools. The second plan was not only to add more buildings to this area to build a village, but it was to slowly upgrade these buildings, taking them from a basic wooden structure and slowly adding to them so that they'd have more rooms and stories and different details. Last time we upgraded our tools, and today we are going to upgrade the buildings. And with the upgrades to these buildings, I tried to approach it as though someone was remodeling the house once they had access to new materials. So instead of getting rid of the original structure, I took parts of it and kept that, as well as adding in some of the materials that we used in the manor house, like sandstone and stripped dark oak logs, but I also added in some mangrove wood, which I think adds a nice color that complements the spruce wood. And with these additions, I think our village is starting to look a little bit more advanced, or at least as advanced as a medieval village can look. Our village is now looking a little bit more prosperous, but that is not even going to begin to cover what we are going to do today. That is only the beginning. Before we get into the projects for today, I wanted to remind you that if you are not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Alright, let's get back to the video. Today we are going to have 3 objectives that we need to complete before the end of the episode. The first objective will be to add some decorations to our village because right now it's rather plain and we could add some interesting things to look at. The second objective for today will be to add some houses so that this village can continue to grow. And then the final objective will be to add some additional fortifications to our manor house up on the hill. But that's going to require some terraforming because this hilltop is not that big. But let's take a look at how we are doing on resources. I have been collecting some spruce logs, so we have those over here. We also have some dark oak logs. And then over on this side, I have my stone, but there is not a lot here. We have a little bit of sandstone, we have some cobblestone, but that's probably not going to be enough for what we are going to do today. And since we don't have the Silk Touch enchantment yet, we are going to first need to mine up a bunch of cobblestone and then smelt that cobblestone into regular stone, which will probably take a bit of time to get that collected up, so we better get started. In total, it took me about 3 hours to get all of the resources collected up, and it probably would have gone faster if I wasn't using stone tools. But it's been pretty interesting going through and using stone tools and wooden tools for as long as I have. Usually when I start in a new world, I speed through using those as quickly as possible because they are so slow and they don't last very long, which is all to say that while I found this challenge interesting, I probably will never do it again. And don't even get me started with leather armor, which offers almost no protection. And since I can barely stay alive while using fully enchanted netherite armor, I have almost no chance in leather armor. But now that we have all of our resources collected, we can get started with our first objective for today. So the first thing that I want to build today are some watchtowers that are going to go on either side of the road here, and they will mark the entrance to our village. So I think I want to add just another little bit to this layer here, so that way the tower on this side will be on the same level as the one over on that side. I think that should be enough space. Let's get these built. And we now have 2 nice little watchtowers that are a fairly simple design, but we are going to be upgrading these as we go along, just like we did with the rest of the buildings here. I also think this road right here could use with a couple of watchtowers as well. With both sets of towers completed, the next project that I want to work on is going to go over on this side here. And it's not going to be more watchtowers. Instead, I want to build a retaining wall around this corner here, so that way up on top we can extend this ground out a little bit of ways to make some more room to build. The retaining wall is now built, and we have a good spot where we can build another house, and I think I should just fit in this area right here. But while I have the structure of the wall built, there are a couple of details that I want to add in, like replacing the dirt blocks down here with some blocks that are going to fit with this area a little bit better. So let's put some moss blocks in. I think that's much better. And we are going to need to add a little bit of color, so let's get some mangrove wood, which we can turn into some fence gates. I think those will be perfect. So if we add these in right like this and open up, we have a nice little red color for the sides there. We have now finished objective number 1, which was adding the decorations to the village. Now it's time to start with objective number 2, adding in some more houses. Obviously, we are going to put a house on this platform right here, and we are going to put a second one over in this little corner here where I've got these chests with the materials. And then the third and final house that we are going to add today will go up here, right in between these trees in this space right here. So let's get some houses built. With the completion of the 3 houses, we've finished up our second objective for today, and I think this village is really starting to come together. There's still room to add a few more houses. I think at some point we should put one right over here. We could probably fit in a few more up on that level there. And then this center area has a little bit more room that we could use as well. But not today. We need to now move on to our third and final objective, which is building up the fortifications around our manor house up at the top of the hill. Over in these chests, we have the resources for this build, and with the dirt that we have over here, we are going to be extending this out just a little bit so that there's some more space up here that we can build a wall around. So let's get started with our third objective for today. And we now have our third objective completed with the fortifications going around the manor house, and I tried to do a couple of different things with the design. The first thing that I did was that it's not a perfect circle that goes around. It's a little bit irregular, and I did that on purpose because I didn't want it to be an exact circle, since this is an early version of it, and as we go along, it'll become more precise. The second thing that I did, which is also related to the first, is that the house is not in the center of this circle. It's a little bit off center, so there's more space over here on the left than there is over on the right. But as we progress along with our village, this is actually going to become a castle, which is going to extend from up here, down along here, over around this corner. We'll probably do a little bit with the terrain here and some things with the terrain over here to flatten it out, so that we can add some more buildings to this area. But now that we've completed our building objectives for today, there is still a little bit of time, and I want to use that to go try to find one of the new pale garden biomes. So I've cleaned out my inventory. We just have a little bit of cobblestone and some sticks so we can craft up axes. And I also have a little bit of beef over here cooking up, so that way we can make sure we have plenty of food to be able to go out and explore. So now I think we are all set to head out, and hopefully it won't take too long to find one of these new biomes. Well, I can't say that I would ever recommend staying overnight in a pale garden biome. This place can get a little deadly. But during the day, I was able to get a lot of different items collected up. So we have a bunch of pale oak logs, we've got some of the pale moss, and we've got some of the eye blossom flowers, which we'll be able to plant, as well as some saplings. So that way we can get some pale oak when we're back at our base. This pale garden biome is fairly large, and I really like how it's up against these mountains with the dark oak forest around it and the taiga forest around it. It just is a really nice setting, and super lucky that I found it. But I'm several thousand blocks away from my base, and it's going to take me a little bit to get back home. I'll probably collect a few more resources before I head back, but I think this is where we are going to leave it for today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And until next time, see you later.